You are welcome to this channel. Please, if you have not yet subscribed to this channel, I will enjoin you to subscribe so that whenever we post any educational content, you will be the first to be notified. And don't forget to turn on your notification button. Today, we want to solve this particular equation. 3x minus 2, 4x minus 3, 6x minus 5, 12x minus 11 to be equal to 7. If we try to expand this polynomial, we end up messing everything up. So I'm going to show you the steps that you follow whenever you see this kind of question. Looking at the terms in the bracket, you will notice that the least common multiples of the coefficient of x is 12. The least common multiple, the LCM of 3, 4, 6, and 12 is equal to 12. So what do? We are going to be multiplying each of the terms so that we have the same coefficient of x also. So taking the first one, we have 3x minus 2. Second one, 4x minus 3. The third, 6x minus 5. Then 12x minus 11. Now, by what do we multiply 3 to get 12? By 4. So I'm multiplying by 4. That will give us 12x minus 8. By what do we multiply 4 to get 12? By 3. So to give us 12x minus 9. Then by what do we multiply 6 to get 12? 2. So this one gives us 12x minus 10. And by this is already 12x minus 11. Now, you can see that 12x is now common. But we can make 12x minus 9 or minus 10. We are looking at the average of these four numbers. So the average lies between minus 9 and 10. So we can choose minus 9 or we choose minus 10, but I'm going to choose minus 10. So now I'm going to on this one, minus 9 to represent t. So whatever I see t means 12x minus 9. Now I'm going to write this one in terms of t. So since t is 12x minus 9, what do I do to minus 9 to get minus 8? I simply add 1. Therefore, this one will be t plus 1. Now, what do I do to minus 9? Since t is equal to 12x minus 9, what do I do to minus 9 to get minus 10? I subtract 1. Now, this. What do I do to minus 11 to minus 9 to get minus 11? I subtract 2. So now I'm going to write the equations in terms of t. So we have t plus 1. We have t minus 1, t minus 2. Everything is equal to 7. But you need to be extremely careful here because we did something to the equation on the right hand side. We did something to the right hand side of the equation. Remember, we multiplied this term by 4. We multiplied this other term by 3, or multiply this term by what? By 2. So effectively, we multiplied the left hand side by 24 because 4 times 3 times 2 is 24. So we are going to do the same thing to the right hand side. So multiply this by 24. So t plus 1, t, t minus 1, t minus 2, everything. 7 times 4. 7 times 24 is 168. So what do? If we look at this term and this term, if we add them together, we get minus 1. The extreme terms, add them together, we get minus 1. So we have, if we 0 plus minus 1 is also minus 1. So we bring the extreme terms together. T plus 1, then t minus 2. We bring the extreme terms together. Then t into t minus 1 is equal to 168. Now, opening the bracket here, t times t is t, then minus 2t plus t minus 2. Then the next bracket, t squared minus t to be equal to 168. So t squared, sorry, because t times t is t squared. So t squared minus 2t plus t minus t minus 2, then t squared minus t is equal to 168. You can see t squared minus t is a common factor to both brackets. So we're going to choose a variable to represent t squared minus t. So we say let u now, we're going to use u. Let u represent t squared minus t. So anywhere I see t squared minus t, I'm going to write u so that the equation will become simplified. So we have u minus 2. T squared minus t is u, then minus 2. Then this other t squared minus t is u. Everything gives us 168. So opening our bracket, u squared, because u times u is u squared, minus 2 times u, 2u. That gives us 168. So we have this quadratic equation, bringing 168 to this other side. U squared minus 2u minus 168 is equal to 0. What are we going to do? We're going to factorize this quadratic equation. But I want you to remember something. Remember something. We multiplied 7 by 24 to get 168. We know that 7 times 24 gives 168. We're going to look for two numbers we can add to each other to get minus 2. If we multiply them by each other, we get minus 168. There is no way we can add or subtract this one to get minus 2. So I'll divide this number by 2. I have 12. Multiply this by 2. I have 14. So 14 times 12 is also 168. But we need to multiply the two numbers to give us minus 168. It means one of the numbers is a negative number. Now, if we're going to add to get a negative answer, the larger number will be a negative number. So we now impute it into this equation. we have u squared minus 14u, then 12u minus 168 is equal to 0. So we now factorize. U is a common factor, bring it out. I have u minus 14. Then 12 is a common factor, we bring it out. 12 minus 14 is equal to 0. Now, we now take this u and plus 12. So u plus 12, u minus 14 is equal to 0. So u plus 12 is equal to 0, or u minus 14 is equal to 0. Now, u is equal to minus 12, or u is equal to 14. Now, I'm going to use this, I'm going to include these two values of u. Remember, we said we said u represents, we said u represents t, we said u represents t squared minus t. So u is equal to t squared minus t. So when u is equal to minus 12, let's get the value of t. So minus 12 is equal to t squared minus t. Therefore, 0 is equal to t squared minus t plus 12. Now, I'm going to use quadratic formula to get the value of t. And for quadratic formula, t is equal to minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, everything over 2a. In this case, our a is 1, our a is 1, our b is minus 1, and our c is 12. So we have t to be equal to minus 1 plus or minus the square root of minus 1 all squared minus 4 into 1, then 12. Everything over 2 into 1. So t is equal to 1 plus or minus the square root of 1 minus 4 times 1 times 12, 48, everything over 2. So t is equal to 1 plus or minus 47 over 2. Therefore, t is equal to 1 plus or minus, because this is a negative number, can't get this, this is a complex number. We have I root minus 47 over 2. So we got in the first equation, which is a complex root. Now we'll now use the other value of u to get the value of t. The other value of u u is equal to 14. Remember, u is equal to t squared minus t. Let me go to a new page. So now u is equal to what? 14. And u is equal to t squared minus t. So we want to use this value of u to get values of t. So 14 is equal to t squared minus t. Therefore, I can write the quadratic equation t squared minus t minus 14. When 14 crosses the equality sign, it becomes negative, is equal to 0. Now, I'm going to use quadratic formula to get the values of t, since I cannot factorize this equation. So t is equal to minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac everything over 2a. In this case, our a is equal to 1, our b is minus 2, and our c is minus 14. So t minus b plus or minus the square root of, sorry, t is minus 1 plus or minus square root of b squared is minus 1 all squared minus 4. Our a is 1 and our c is minus 14. Everything over 2 into 1, 2a. So we have t to be equal to minus times minus 1 is 1 plus or minus the square root minus 1 squared is 1 minus times minus is plus 4 times 1 times 14, 56 over 2 times 1, 2. So we have t to be equal to 1 plus or minus root 57 everything over 2. But remember that t is equal to 12x. Note, t is equal to 12x minus what? Minus 9. So 1 plus or minus root 57 over 2 is equal to 12x minus 9. We need to make x the subject of the formula. So what are we going to do? Cross multiply. So 1 plus or minus root 57 is equal to 2 times 12x, 24x. x minus 2 times 9, 18. So now I'm going to transfer. Let me rewrite this equation as 24x minus 18 will be equal to, I just swap their places, plus or minus root 57. Now, what am I going to do? I'm going to move 18 to the other side so that I have x on one side. So 24x is equal to 1 plus or minus root 57. So 24x is equal to, plus 18, because 18 will cross to the other side. So 19 plus or minus root 57 is equal to 24x. So x will now be 19 plus or minus root 57 over 24. So x is equal to 19 minus root 57 over 24, or 19 plus root 57 over 24. Please drop your comments, like, and subscribe to this channel so that you get more of this type of content.